What's going on, guys? Welcome to the third episode of Riftslop.
Number three.
Number three. Um, Today we're just going to be talking about all the news that's been coming out this week. It is, yeah. It's the first week of August, right? So we got a state of play, we got a roadmap, we got a state of the game, we got some store updates regarding the T1 stuff that's going to be coming, which is going to be cool. And then we have a little article on the creators for 2027, so for next year, and some of the process on that end, which hopefully we get to be a part of if we're able to grow as quickly as we'd like to. If not, then I mean it is what it is. But you know, we're doing our best. And then but I'm your host, David, also known as Ogul, joined by our wonderful co-host, Sam. Take us over to the people.
How we doing, everyone?
How you doing today? How's your week going so far? I know we played. Was it yesterday?
Tuesday?
Day before? Tuesday. Yeah. Well, we'll have that video. We'll have that video up. It's a fun little Ezreal versus Akali matchup.
I got spanked.
Dude, I rewatched that video and it is crazy how much I misplayed.
I got spanked. Dude, let me tell y'all, we played more games after the camera went off. And if I'm not playing against Ezreal, it's actually a pretty... Kali's good. It's not Ezreal. Bad matchup.
Yeah, he was able to pull it off against Jace Aurora. But granted, I made him play against two different versions of Cancer, so it's okay.
Dude, and the 3v3? Dude, I was schmooving.
Dude, the 3v3, man, oh my god, that 3v3 was insane. And it gives me more reasons as to why I hate more than 4-player games.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we did a 3v3, like a 3-on-3 at the same time game, and it was a bit of a mess.
Some custom game modes for you guys.
Yeah, we're working on a couple things that I'm a little sneak peek. If you're a Magic enjoyer, if you're a Magic content enjoyer, and you have heard of Maldhound, I believe is the content creator's name. He was on an episode of Shuffle Up and Play, which is like the professor, like the Tolarian Academy channel, one of the bigger Magic creators. They made a game mode or like deck where it was like treasure cruise with a bunch of equipment and stuff that like people were able to gamble on throughout their turns to get extra cards in play. I'm trying to make something like that for Riftbound. As I get more cards, I'm just trying to figure it all out before we actually do it, and then hopefully test it, and then hopefully get a video out for you guys with it. But that's in the future. Yeah, I really like his content too. He's been doing some Riftbound stuff every now and then too, which is pretty cool. But nonetheless, before we get started with our topics today, I do want to mention, guys, we're on TikTok, right? So we'd like to try and push our stuff a little more. So if you do, please follow us on the TikTok.
Right, because this only goes to YouTube.
Yeah, so this one's only on YouTube. We'd appreciate any follows on TikTok. We're trying to do as much as we can on the TikTok. We've been growing pretty nicely. I feel like it's been going pretty well. I've been enjoying making all the shorts and stuff. And then you've probably seen some of the shorts on our YouTube end too. We're cross-posting everything, but we'd like to grow everything as well. And if you're not already, please follow the YouTube. If you're not already subscribe, like, hit the bell, whatever it is that you do. If you want to support us, twist it, bop it, click it. Just join us here. We're trying to get as much content out as possible. Like I said, we're going to get our first gameplay video out hopefully before this one actually comes out. So please check us out on there. And then last but not least, check us out on twitter.com or X, whatever you want to call it.
Twitter.
Yeah, check us out on there. I prefer Twitter. I still type in Twitter.
That's right.
So just check us out on here. Follow us everywhere on the socials. We'd appreciate all the help. And hopefully we get to grow as best as we can. And now let's just get to our first topic. So we have the state of the game. State of the game is just a couple questions that they've been like asking all of the. I guess this was with like the directors of the of Riftbound, and I wanted to talk about a couple of the questions. We weren't going to go through all of them here, but one of the questions I want to talk about was they talked about the rules. So like, what is Riftbound doing to make the rules more accessible? So they talk about, you know, how they're updating the templating for set 6, and something that they mentioned in the products and sets update for 2027, which we will also be going over. And then they give us a little bit of what they went in terms of like their design decisions, and they wanted to limit the amount of special language that the new player would need to learn to read and understand a card, which is good. I think simplified text is always the best way to go. As long as it makes sense, and there hasn't always been the best making of sense in some of these Riftbound cards. Promising future, I'm looking at you, but you know, but with that, and as more new keywords come through, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff to kind of get through. But one of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about in this that he mentioned was that in addition to the work improving the rules of the game, our publishing team is working to continue to improve rules documents, their availability in the process they go out to our community. We shifted the rules introduction dates for Vendetta based on feedback from the community who wanted more times between the rules being announced and them being effect. I think this was a very, very good change, mainly because it gives people time to test with those rules themselves if they want to. It gives time for people to like really just like read the document and understand them, and it gives people like us the opportunity to explain them to people. But
that's right. That's our bread and butter.
that is the bread and butter right now on the TikTok. So if you wanted some rules interactions, please go on there. But yeah, what are your thoughts on like just kind of the way they've been doing like the rules? And I know for the most part, I've been the one that's been more heavily on the rules and stuff, and I think they've been doing a pretty good job. I wish there was a more like they have like the rules hub like link here, and that's a pretty easy way to just kind of go and click on the rules. But I wish there was a better way to almost navigate the rules themselves.
Yeah, I would say like I feel like I understand 70% of the rules, and then like the other 30% are like these odd interactions or like these rulings that just don't feel intuitive. And I'm all for them simplifying it. Like I saw some of the new tech and like how they're gonna like use like you know, like gray boxes. I saw like examples, very
Yeah,
specific examples.
we'll look at them when we get to the I believe that when they're doing like the products, they talk about it, which we'll do.
Oh, okay, great.
We'll look at that in a sec here. But
yeah,
yeah, it's like they do like the gray text and then like the arrows and stuff.
I think that'll be very helpful. I'm about to retake my judge exam because I failed it by like one question. So like I feel like I understand most of the rules, but like when you get into these nuanced, unintuitive interactions, that's where I get lost. And like I actually need to like sit down and study.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it's mainly due to I think it's mainly due to cards that end up taking multiple rulings into account.
Yeah, I agree.
So I remember there was a bit of a confusion with like Kale, the new card. With like people there was a bit of confusion, which I mean a lot of people just assumed that this worked this way. But so the issue was that the empower mechanic, right? So the empower mechanic stated that you can only empower if the creature is disempowered, right? So like that mentions it mentions like the ruling for that mechanic is a specific limitation. Kale specifically said she can empower multiple times. I want to get I forgot the actual the specific wording, but basically Kale essentially says, you know, I can be empowered multiple times. The problem there is most people would like to assume that because Kale said I can be empowered multiple times, or you can empower me multiple times, it is safe to assume that it meant that you could activate her empower multiple times. But the problem is if you were somebody who was like, and there's this whole thing about like, oh, you want to be a rules lawyer about it all, but like to some people they just want to get it exact, because when there's vagueness in the rules and there's things that contradict each other, somebody who actually is maliciously rules lawyering will try to use that to their advantage. And you would prefer that the people who are preemptively rules lawyering get to the bottom of it before somebody starts trying to use it against you, right? So like what happened was people were confused as to whether or not, like, just because Kale said that she can be empowered multiple times, if that meant that she could empower herself multiple times, and that line of text supersedes the empower the empower rules, the rules behind the empower mechanic for herself. Obviously Riot later came out and said, hey, this is how it works, you can in fact do this, and they clarified that, which was great. And some people were like, oh, why does this need to be clarified? This makes no sense. It's like, oh, why would this need to be clarified? This makes no sense, blah 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 blah, etc etc etc. But like, I think stuff like that is very important, because although the golden rule exists where it's just like it's just the card text will always supersede any rules text for the most part, is very important. When it comes to like very like specific distinctions like that, it avoids unnecessary arguments and discussions from people who, like, even at a local level, right? Because you get the one guy who's chronically online like I am and reads random Twitter interactions about rulings, and then the one guy who just goes to his locals after work doesn't know these things, and then he tries to get one up by the other guy because he knows this weird interaction that this guy that has a normal life doesn't. And it's all crazy, right? But I think with that, and it's kind of getting to what I was going to get to, is I think the rules document itself needs a little bit like, they do a pretty good job at providing examples, but I would prefer if they did like one or like more than one example every time. There are some that has like 2 different examples of like what they're talking about. Some have no examples of what they're talking about, and then some have just one example and is very broad.
I'd also like if the rules document had a home and like was updated instead of like getting a new rules document every time they update it.
Oh yeah, because right now we have the rules hub, and then it's just a new PDF that's linked every time.
Yeah, like if under the play riftbound.com, if they just had pretty much exactly that.
Yeah, I think like a direct thing to that. And I also think they should have like a master document of where it's the rules and also erratas. I hate having to go to 2 different documents for erratas. Or I have to hit
erratas.
Erratas too. I think erratas is a whole different thing. I think erratas need to like get dropped a little bit. There's a lot of stuff. I think there's a lot of stuff from this year in general, because of, I feel like we've essentially been in, like I've said it before, Riftbound has essentially been in a beta up until maybe next year. But like there's a lot of stuff that's getting errated and changed and stuff. And I would love if all that was under one, like just one document as a whole. Because having to go through 3 different pages of erratas just to find the card, it can get annoying. And I'd rather just be able to go to the rules document itself, and then control F, type up type turner or erratas, and then it's like boom, all the erratas in a list up to the most recent date that they're updated to. That'd be really cool. Riot, if you're listening, I doubt you are, but take that.
These are good suggestions.
But let's move on. Let's move on to the next question. And this one's about bans, which I think obviously we've talked about bans a lot. And it's always something that's worth discussing. And they ask with now, we've now had bans for 2 consecutive sets. Will this continue? Basically, the one part I care about here, because for the most part, the first few parts are just them saying, you know, they're sticking with their
Philosophy hasn't
philosophy,
changed. Yeah.
and you know, there's a learning curve. They're trying to explore different things and allow people to build cool stuff. But the thing I wanted to talk about, which has been a hot topic for a while, is infinites, right? So he states here, I also want to talk briefly about infinites or combos that straight up win the game. Our team's general philosophy on those has been that we think it's fun and valuable to have players excited to try combinations like these, so long as they are lower power levels or have interesting counterplay. As you can see from the ban of Stealthy Pursuer with Vendetta, sometimes we think the combo is over the line. But as we've said, not every infinite combo is actually problematic. In cases where infinite combos aren't quite powerful enough to ban, we'll continue to monitor them and let you know if one or more of these things end up over the line in the future. All this to say, yes, we expect to continue to ban cards. We will try to make it as few as possible. We'll also consider whether to unban previously unbanned cards. I guess they meant previously banned cards, but we aren't making any promises. I think the infinite stuff is a pretty touchy subject.
I like infinites because I think it's a good high skill expression. With that being said, I actually really like their take on it because like the Akali Infinite, for example, takes a lot to set up, and even when you do it, those tokens they can't move immediately.
If you haven't
Unless
seen it, check out the TikTok.
hey yo, check out the TikTok. But yeah, like you know what I mean. Like that Akali Infinite is very hard to pull off, and it's like you have to dedicate your whole deck build to it almost. I don't think that's worth touching. But like if an Infinite is super easy to pull off, and like it like just like just like dismantles your opponent's ability to play, like that needs to be touched. Just like their example.
The Stealthy Pursuer, yeah. I think
Yeah.
the biggest issue with the Stealthy Pursuer is that they previously mentioned it was like happening like turn 3 or something.
Yeah.
Which I think is a little too fast for this game.
Yeah, like what can you do by turn 3? You score 2 points max, like.
Yeah. But I think like infinite combos, when you're looking at cards that are a part of infinite combos at the moment, specifically Echo, which is he's the big catalyst to all these combos basically, except for like the Akali one. But you know, for the ones that people are talking about mostly, and that's just Lux combo, it's Echo, right? People are saying ban Echo, ban. I think the problem is that right now the only infinite combo that's doing things with Echo to a extreme is the Lux combo, right? And I think that combo, and specifically Ezreal, sorry, not Ezreal, Echo, different character with an E. I think specifically Echo will get banned if Lux starts winning tournaments this set.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping Lux does not start winning tournaments because I'm looking forward to using Blue Echo in my Echo deck for Radiance. Because I think it's a really strong card, but I'm gonna use it fairly. So I mean, I'm just hoping Lux doesn't.
He says that for now. Then you're gonna start seeing Echo with like Malzahar and like Vi in his deck, and you're just like, oh, it's fair.
You know, I mean, whatever happens, happens.
Whatever happens. Yeah. Whatever, dude. No, but I agree. I think like Echo as a whole is a really cool card. It'd be cool to see him in Radiance and see what he does. But I do think like people have been saying, you know, this Lux deck has only gotten better as people have been piloting that. And I think honestly, I think the biggest reason to ban out the Lux combo itself is because of how long it takes, more so than I would say its power. I think people are saying like it can like deterministically win around like turn 5, turn 6, and I think it is like ridiculously resilient in terms of like being able to just kind of pull the game out from anywhere, because you might think they don't have enough and then they just magically get to the combo and then win, which I could see it being a problem. Like I think if we ever get to the point where we get like an RQ or where top 8 is a Lux mirror trying to get to the infinite, I feel like they'll have to pull the plug. But I think for now, and especially with how strong some of the other stuff is, I think it's going to be kept at bay, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a lot of strong Vendetta decks, and there's a lot of decks that got stronger with Vendetta cards. And I mean, we'll have to see. Obviously, we'll see what the pros do, but I don't think Lux will be taking any like major tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
It might top, but I don't think it'll take them.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about it in the past, and I've kind of mentioned that I think for Vendetta, a lot of like the older, like Unleashed, Spirit Forge, Legends are still probably the best ones in the game at the moment. Yi is still probably by far one of the best decks in the format. And I think, people are spewing words of Draven comeback here and there.
Yeah.
People are saying Diana only got better with the Swain stuff, and who knows how the meta actually ends up happening.
Right.
But I do feel like Lux might be somewhere in the middle to tier 2, tier 3 maybe. I think it could contend. I think it can contend to tier 1. It might even be like a tier 1 deck, and it's just dependent on the pilot themselves. But I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's just because we don't go against it enough. None of us play it in our locals, and none of us play it within our group. I almost played it, and then I realized I don't want to do this combo 4 times every time I play it, and I was just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. So who knows? Maybe it's just something that you have to experience to really understand it. And it's just a matter of like seeing how consistent it is as time goes on. But I will say, from looking around, it does seem to be only getting more consistent, which is a little crazy. Balance for 2v2s, because I know 2v2s is something that we've talked about showing interest in. I know the group has been showing, our play group in general has been showing interest in 2v2s.
Yeah.
And they talk about it a little bit, saying that at this time they haven't really spent enough time designing or balancing for 2v2 specifically. They've kind of more so, as they describe it, throw a bone toward 2v2s, like for example when we use friendly rather than you control on some cards, which I think is cool. I like that they're putting more stuff on friendly. Some stuff is a little scary when it says friendly, but you know what, at least in the context of 2v2s. But I think giving more of that wording to things is great. Let Elder Dragon be friendly, why not? Nah, but they continue to say 2v2 is a good example of the partnering that exists between the game team and our community, as the popularity of 2v2 at events has shown us that we need to think about it more, which is to say the format needs more love and attention. We haven't talked about it in a while, but in many ways it's similar to the way we'll support our future in still to be named non-rotating format, and this is where I'm the most interested in. When standard and rotation becomes a thing in 2028 plus, we begin to design cycles and playtesting time on 2v2, and it will probably never get the same level we want to provide for 1v1 constructed as our premier competitive format, but we do want 2v2 to end up in that tier of fun, fair, and balanced that we hope that non-rotating format will be come 2028. And though, as a final note, I should say that the champion decks in set 6 are set up to work very well when played in 2v2 right at the box, which is pretty cool. I think them going like, hey, our decks our pre-mades are starting to look a little bit more tuned for 2v2s. But the biggest thing I'm interested in is like similar to the way we'll support our future and still to be named the non-rotating format. So this is in regards to their eternal format that they're doing once they start rotating. And
I was gonna call it Legacy, but yeah.
Well, Legacy is what they call one of the Magic's non-rotating formats.
Yeah.
But I think this one's like interesting that they're looking to support. They want to do an eternal format, which I think they've already mentioned, and I'm personally excited for because I love Eternal formats. But it's interesting that they kind of at the moment are saying we're not gonna really focus on it as much as we do on the 1v1 end.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes sense, right? They probably have a limited team. And until they see like, I mean, like maybe until Riot sees like the big bucks, like they're gonna
Yeah.
just limit how much work they do, etc.
Yeah, I think for my hope is that for an Eternal format, it's just that they provide, and they've already, from what I've heard, they've done a pretty good job at 2v2 stuff in terms of events, and that's all I hope for. Like events, like enough events to make it so that it's worth kind of playing these Eternal formats.
Yeah.
I personally think that they shouldn't make specific product for these Eternal formats. I know
I agree.
Magic Wizards of the Coast kind of did that at certain points with like their Modern Horizons like sets, I believe, if I remember them correctly. I was like in and out of Magic when those came out, but they did like pseudo, like they have some cards that sometimes come out and they're just immediately not legal in standard. They're just like because they're like for some of the for like when they do commander decks, right? Some of the cards on there, they're reprints from like older stuff, but those aren't, my understanding is that those aren't also standard legal. Like those go straight to like any preprints there are Eternal formats. And then they did like the Modern Horizon stuff, which was like cards that are generally printed and they're going to be going for like the Eternal formats and stuff. And they weren't really, some of those weren't really standard legal as well, which I don't. And maybe if somebody wants to correct me and I'm misremembering something, please let me know. But I think that's not the way to do it. I hope they don't do that. If they're doing like, if they do decks where they're like, oh, all these cards are from a non-rotating, maybe they do like, it's because they want to, they do like a structured deck for a reprint and they want to like reprint Jinx in some way, or like reprint like an older legend in some way for like later down the line. Maybe they do something like that. But I hope they don't do like I wouldn't want them to do Eternal format specific product, if that's like my main point.
No, I agree with that. I think their first priority should be standard, and then let people who like love Eternal like just play with the cards that eventually rotate out. Because like just by focusing on standard, it'll naturally feed Eternal.
Yeah, 100%. And I just think I like how those things kind of feed to each other. And I'm super excited to see how the Eternal format ends up, because I love having a reason to play cards that are rotated out. It just gives you more playtime with game pieces that you've gotten over however long you've played the game, and it gives you a different competitive outlet, because sometimes things are more broken in Eternal formats. And
sometimes
sometimes sometimes I love an Eternal format where like Stealthy Pursuer is unbanned because everything else is broken. You get me? Like stuff like that.
You actually beat
sick.
me to my you beat me to my point. I was gonna say Eternal probably won't have a ban list. Like you'll probably be able to play everything.
To start, they might not. But Eternal formats usually develop a ban list of some sort.
Yeah.
Like I know back in Magic when I played Modern heavily, one of the homies was playing like Splinter Twin for any of the old Modern heads that know of it, and that eventually got banned, and we were all sad about it because it was a really fun combo deck. But yeah, like I think to start, I'd be surprised if it starts with a ban list. If anything, they might just say, hey, we're going to start with our current ban list and then adjust from there. Similar to how they're doing with 2v2s, and they're like, hey, anything that's currently banned in the standard ban list is banned for 2v2s, and then with the addition of Yi, who's now banned in 2v2s as well, right? So like they might just do that. But I'm interested to see how all these bans end up going with the upcoming Eternal format. But any other last thoughts on the stuff we went over for the state of the game?
No, I think we talked about it. I think we got our thoughts on there.
All right, perfect. So let's just go to the roadmap. So we have some dates for the rest of the year. If you want to take it away.
All right, so we have our roadmap for the rest of 2026 and into 2027. I can't believe how many events they're squeezing into the end of the year, man. I'm actually shocked.
Dude, same. Like
Dude, it's nuts.
they made it sound like there wasn't gonna be much. I don't know if
Right.
it's just me, but they made it sound like there wasn't gonna be much. But
Right, and
I
I
mean,
feel like I'm looking at this roadmap. We have stuff almost every week for the rest of the year. It's crazy.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot to talk about too, because this is a lot of tournaments.
Yeah. So I think we'll just I think I'll just kind of like rattle them off, and if we want to like discuss them, we can kind of like pause.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, August, you got the 7th to the 9th, the Showdown series in Ottawa. That's in Quebec. That's gonna be awesome. We got the T1 signature set coming out next week. At least that's the drawing window. We kind of cover that in one of our shorts.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the sign up. We got the official, like I think we did get the official dates, which I can bring up real quick since we're on that. So for the Champion Edition, on Friday, August 14th at 9 a.m., the drawing registration will start, and then it will end on that Monday the 17th at 6 p.m. Pacific. So for our East Coasters, just add 3 hours to that. And then on Thursday, the 20th of August, the emails will be sent out. And then on September 2nd, they are looking to start arriving to players. So that's going to be big. I'm super excited. I hope we get in. I hope we get in.
Dude, I've been luck sacking for this moment. I haven't entered a single Riot raffle. I'm only signing up for the signature set, dude. I want it.
So the thing about that is, I know we previously talked about the catch-up pool stuff, right? Apparently for this one, everybody has an equal shot.
I don't believe him.
There is no catch-up pool drawing.
No, I've been luck sacking.
I really hope that we can snag something. If not, somebody out at Riot wants to hook us up. Yo,
let us know, man. Let us know.
I'll pay. No insider trading. Anyway, let's continue with our dates here.
We got 15th to the 16th. We got a couple Showdown series. You got Geek Culture in New Zealand. You got Battle Bear in Germany, and you got Gen G Esports in LA. I think the Showdown series is something they're starting like this month. I believe we were talking earlier, and you said it was something they were doing like overseas.
Yeah, from my understanding of one of the previous articles, it seems like they were doing these somewhere out, like in other areas. We also just got into really keeping track of events, so if we're wrong on that, let us know. But what they made it seem in their state of play was that these Showdown series things were going to start spreading to more locations. They made it seem they were like third-party hosted events, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, which like each of them is named like it sounds like they're named after like an organization or like a
I believe that org is going to be the one running it. So like Gen G is going to be running their Showdown series, Battle Bear and Geek Culture, and then one of the ones we'll get to for next month we'll talk about a little bit more. But yeah, I think each individual one of those is going to be like they're the third party group that's going to be hosting them.
Right. So we're gonna have it says Vendetta's first Summoner Skirmish window opens on the 17th. I think that's a Monday, so I think that week we're gonna have our first Vendetta skirmish, which will be awesome. And then you're gonna have the 21st, 23rd. RQ Barcelona is gonna be must watch TV. It's our first regional with the Vendetta set. I know Alan ZQ is cooking up a crazy Mel list.
I want to see his Mel list. I want to see the Mel list because I want to believe in Mel. I want to be proven wrong on what I think that character does. Because I think that character's ass, butt cheeks, poop from a butt. But
we're Blurple players.
I'm Blurple. I'm
We're
playing
Blurple
Ezreal.
players.
And I'm playing Ezreal, and I want to believe in like Mel. I have 2 rebuttals. I need to get a 3rd one just in case. Before they go back up to $50 because Alan ZQ is a freaking goat and might just win the whole tournament.
Dude, he was training Froden, and he was like, I am not showing you my tech for Barcelona. He just says it like in the first 20. He's like, I'm not showing you my technology for Barcelona, but I will guide you in the ways of Mel. I was like, ooh, secret
dude,
Barcelona.
I need to know. Because if he's swapping from Diana to Mel, dude, that says something about Mel. That says something about Mel.
Yeah. I think the signature spell is broken. I think that's what he says in the Froden video.
Yeah, I mean the signature spell is without a doubt broken. Like that's just not. It is no secret that the signature spell is worth thinking about playing Mel. Yeah. It's just the rest of it that I don't understand. I don't understand how you get value off that legend, but I want to see it. I want to believe in it because I do currently think it's kind of ass.
I also, you know who else is playing Mel this set?
The boy Knack.
Yeah, you beat me to it. Yep, Knack. Yes, sir.
Yes. I'm excited to see what Knack's doing with the Mel list as well. He actually it was definitely like kind of cool seeing he responded to one of our TikToks about like the rebuttal interactions with it, which I was pretty hyped about. I know I shared it with the boys. I was like, dude, we've made it low key. Nah.
Oh, dude, yeah,
we got attention from the pro player. Nah,
dude, yeah.
but
David can tell you
cool
I geeked out in the Discord.
Yeah, we love his content. He makes really good stuff. Definitely check him out. If for some reason you're here but not over there, check him out, bro.
Quick sidebar, we'll get back to the topic. He's also working on an Endless Riches Rumble build. That's all I'm saying. I'm excited to see it.
That's goated. That's goated.
Yeah.
That's goated. We'll have to play it whenever.
Yeah, well, I gotta see it. Yeah,
we'll have to play it. Yeah. But RQ Barcelona. Guys, we'll try and figure it out if it works for our time. But maybe we can do a watch party on stream, on a YouTube stream or a Twitch stream. Yeah. We'll figure it out. You guys will know. Yeah. Follow us in the socials to freaking find out. But yeah, let's get with our next one. Next one is in Milwaukee.
Yep. Yeah. Our last event for August is the 22nd and 23rd. Showdown Series R NRG event Milwaukee. So this is happening the same time as RQ Barcelona. This is probably for players stateside, but I think most eyes will be on Barcelona.
Yeah, for sure. I think this one's a little bit of an unfortunate timing for the NRG events. Yeah. But NRG, another like reputable Oregon like east in the esports scene. So cool to see that they're doing like Showdown Series and stuff. Yeah, let's get to September.
Dude, I'm excited for September. So we the 4th through the 6th, we have RQ Singapore. RQ Singapore, you know, again, RQs are where our eyes should be for the ever-changing meta. It's like a week or two after Barcelona. So if we see a huge meta shift, that means, you know, players took like really big notes on Barcelona and they applied it to Singapore.
So I think Barcelona, right? I think Barcelona is really good to see what the EU and the NA players are cooking up. Singapore is going to be what the chefs from China. I think the chefs from like China, Japan, like all those OCE regions, like Australia and all them. I think those chefs are going to pull up at Singapore because I believe they're a lot closer to that. And it's definitely probably a lot harder to get to Barcelona. But because I think when thinking last, because I believe it was Hartford and then Sydney earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And like the metas were pretty different from what I remember, like from what won and what like between the two games. Because I think Sydney was won by like Azir.
Yeah.
And then like Hartford was completely, I believe that's the one that Alan ZQ won with
I think so too.
Diana or something like that. And then but yeah, like I think my point is with these two, they're relatively far away from each other. They're far enough away from each other that we'll probably get some variance in builds of what we see, purely
Totally.
because of the fact of like what regions are showing up.
Totally. And yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch these. The 4th through the 7th we have PAX West. That is typically like a convention more than a tournament, but you're gonna be able to pick up like a lot of Riftbound, like secret gardens and like product there, and I'm sure they're gonna have like a tournament or something at PAX West. Um, the 11th through the 13th, Showdown series, we got two, and we have SCG Con Baltimore, and we have Luca Ferra in Italy. Um, I'm gonna say SCG Con Baltimore is gonna be Riftslop's first official event, because I already bought my ticket.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to go. I
Yeah,
am like 90% on the go button. I just need to figure out some work stuff,
yeah,
some work stuff and whatnot. So I'm not 100% in I'm not like super, I'm not confirmed personally, but I will definitely, I'm definitely going to try to make it, because Baltimore is close enough to where we can justify kind of,
driving.
heading out and just
Yeah,
kind of spending a night or two trying to figure out what's going on. I think Star City Games is nice. I've always enjoyed their events when I went to them in back when I played Magic, and they've always been cool. It's always a good con. At least I haven't been to one in a very long time, so who knows what the state is of them now. I can only imagine they've gotten better, hopefully, since like
right.
2014. But like, but yeah, I think Star City Games always does a pretty good job, and I'm excited for Baltimore. I think it'll be really cool, and I hope I'm able to make it, and we can head out there, and hopefully, if any of you guys are there, we'll keep an eye on the channels.
And you actually watch the
We'll be
concept.
posted. Yeah, I mean, if you got this far, then you should know we'll be there.
Right.
But
Facts.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
let's keep it
Let's
going.
keep going.
We
Yeah.
got a fair bit of sets to go through.
Yeah, we do have a lot. We're gonna kind of like fire through these here.
Mhm.
You got on the 14th Vendetta's second Summoner Skirmish window. So again, just like the first one, the week of the 14th, you will probably see skirmishes popping off. Um, whatever fits your local theme. You got the 19th through the 20th Showdown Series, Charlie's Collectible Show in Texas. That's cool. 25th through the 27th. We have RQLA. I'm excited to watch RQLA. I know a lot of content creators are going to RQLA. Personally, I know one of my favorite content groups was almost the whole group was invited. Offline TV. I'm talking Scara, Toast, Fidion, Jody. Like their whole crew is going to RQLA. So I think it's going to be super cool to watch. Um,
Yeah, it's also the last regional qualifier for 2026. So it's gonna be the last RQ before like the big championship that they're doing in December, I believe, which should be sick because this might be the last time we see certain decks played. Because who knows what we'll see in the championship? There might be a lot more like very meta specific stuff. Like people might just be trying to play the top end at the championship. I know there's this whole thing about like like special best ofs being brought out, but you have to like make day two, and who knows how many people are actually going to try and do that. But we'll get to that in a little bit when we get to the actual thing. But RQ Los Angeles being like the final regional qualifier is going to be something sick to watch.
It's gonna be special. It's gonna be special. And the Radiance preview begins at RQLA. They're gonna start showing us like cards for Radiance because Radiance comes out at the end of October. So this is gonna start. This is basically gonna start like our week or two or three of reveals basically for the whole set.
And
Um,
we'll be sure to cover that on the channel.
you know it. Your boy is gonna start cooking with Echo the moment they release it on Rift Atlas. Mid October, you got China's Vendetta Major Tournament. The 1st through the 4th, Frontline Las Vegas Open. Um, I mean, a Vegas tournament? Who doesn't want to go? You got the Showdown Series Spell Nexus in Spain. The 8th is Radiance Rules Update. This is cool. Radiance drops at the end of the month, so they're giving us like 2 weeks with the rules, which I think is awesome. Um, 9th through 11th is Evo France. 9th through 11th is also PAX Australia. Those are like conventions. Evo is specifically a fighting game tournament.
Yeah, it's mostly a fighting game tournament. I'm sure many of you already like know what Evo is, but they've Evo has kind of gone in the direction of just an overall kind of gaming convention for the most part as well. So like it's cool that they have Riftbound. I think they had Riftbound last time, and it makes sense because Riot is also big now with their fighting game 2XKO. So it's cool that they're trying to push Riftbound there too.
Totally. 16th through the 22nd. That's Radiant's pre-rift. We're here. We made it.
Boom.
We're gonna be doing. I know we're gonna be doing at least one pre-rift, and we probably gonna buy a few extra pre-rifts to rip.
Yeah,
But
if stock allows, we always kind of. It's always going to be dependent on what they have extra after they are done with their events. So, but hopefully we get to do. I definitely want to do one, maybe two, if we can fit a second one in, depending
yeah,
on how it works out. But yeah, I think that's usually what we do as a group, one or two.
yeah, and I know I'm gonna be going a little hard on Radiant's product. Chasing
Right.
the Echo Sig. But you have, the 22nd and the 25th. Spiel Essen, a Germany event, probably a tournament. You've got the Paris Games Week, timed with the French release of Radiance, and French Riftbound reaching release parity with Chinese and English. Basically means we're going to be having like almost global releases, like Chinese, English, and French Riftbound releases will be all in the same um, time frame. You have on the 23rd the French Vendetta launch. On the 23rd, you
Oh
also
wow,
have
they're
Radiance
launch.
launch.
Yeah, they're launching Radiance and Vendetta for French players at the same time.
It's probably the only way to get them caught up.
Probably so that they can start 2027 with everybody at the same page.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Any French players, let us know how that works out.
Yeah, I really like this from Riot. That they're like making this a priority. Back when I played competitive Vanguard, we were always a set behind. We used to be like several sets behind Japan, but they got us to a point where we were one set behind Japan, and what ended up happening was that the meta would develop in Japan and the English would just copy it almost, because they already had like a whole, they had a whole rotation ahead of us. So it didn't allow for global skill expression, if that makes sense. It felt like it was being dictated. So
Right.
I
It's like
like
there
the
was
global.
already like a blueprint by the time you guys had it. So
Right.
like
So I actually really like
there
this.
wasn't much development past what was already discovered.
Right, right. But like with global releases like this, everyone's getting the cards at the same time, they're figuring it out at the same time. I think it would be really cool to see something like, oh, like the world's best like Echo player is in France, but the world's best like Seraphine player is in China. Like I just like I like that kind of like idea.
Yeah, yeah. It gives everybody the fair shot. And that's kind
Yeah.
of how it was for Unleashed with us. Because
Yeah.
we got Unleashed, I think, a month or two after China.
Yeah. And yeah, so we have 23rd to 24th, Showdown Series Laughing Dragon. 28th to November 1st, you got Luca Comic in Games, a tournament in Italy. October 30th to November 1st, Showdown Series in Orlando. And then it kind of winds down from there. It's holiday season in November. You have the 6th through the 8th, the European Regional Championship. Um, this is the first Riftbound Regional Championship in Europe. And then you have two tournaments towards the end of the month there in November, the 27th through the 29th. Dream Hack Stockholm, and 28th through the 29th, Toll House Game Show. And then finally in December, you have the 4th through the 6th, PAX Unplugged, which is it's TCG PAX basically, and like board games, like that's why it's unplugged. And then the 11th through the 13th is Convergence Fest and North American Regional Championship in Las Vegas. Plus the team fight tactics is sure to be a fantastic time. Basically like that's their big team fight tactics event, and now they're combining it with Riftbound.
Combining it with Riftbound, yeah. And
Yeah.
this one, I know we originally wanted to go. Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
know for me, it's probably going to be it's most likely a big pass, just because it doesn't work out for me in the year. But hopefully next year we can fit this one in, because I assume they're going to do more of these. They're going to do more.
I think this is going to be incredible. I would love to go just to watch, honestly, like live, like pro play.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess, we can just wrap up the 2027 stuff real quick here. Legacy, we got Legacy in January from the 22nd to the 28th. That's going to be the pre-Rift events. 27th of January is going to be the Legacy launch. We're going to get a state of play, state of the game at some point in February. They don't have an exact date. And the 19th, Proving Ground 2.0 is coming out. And then wrapping up April, we have the Reckoning pre-Rift events from the 23rd to the 29th, and the 30th, the Reckoning will launch. And those are pretty exciting. We'll get to them. We went over them in our shorts and stuff, and I'm very excited for the next year. I know they don't mention it here, but they did mention later down the line, closer to the end of the year, set 9 being a Shadow Isle set, and I'm so excited because I've wanted nothing more than Thresh to exist, and I'm super excited for next year because there's a good chance he's finally coming. But that's how the rest of the year is looking to plan out in terms of the roadmap. I'm very excited for all these events. Hopefully, I'm hopefully able to get to Baltimore so I can take part of a non-local event for once, for the first time in Riftbound, and hopefully that gives me the itch to go to more stuff. I already have the itch to go to everything, but unfortunately my wallet doesn't. But we'll have to figure out how our events go, and hopefully more events in the East Coast coming next year. As we get to our final topic of the day, and that is going to be the actual state of play and what they're changing with the overall their overall events from a local level all the way to a tournament level. Kicking it off for what's new with 2027. So there's going to be a Nexus Cup program and the Challenger Series program. So biggest thing we're kind of bringing this, these two are kind of together because they essentially wanted to split the skirmish into a more casual thing, and 2, something that's actually the first step in the competitive grind, right? So when we look at the Nexus Cup, so the Nexus Cup will be monthly celebrations of local organized play, giving communities another reason to regularly gather, celebrate, and create memorable moments together outside of the premier play ladder. Essentially, this is like a casual version of a skirmish, from my understanding of this stuff. Is essentially like a more casual way to get into an overall event where you can play your tournament and you don't have the pressure of this mattering for your next step in the competitive ladder towards trying to get to RQs and so on and so forth. This gives you a little bit more of a alleviating feeling because you can play your for fun deck. You don't have to play like a super try hard deck because these essentially they don't mean nothing, but they don't mean nothing in terms of the for your competitive stats.
They're a step up from Nexus Knight, but they're not quite quite a Challenger Series.
They're not anything. Yes, they're not anything like actually competitive in terms of like what they mean for your standings. But that's where the second thing that the skirmish is split into, and that's the Challenger Series. So the Challenger Series is going to be the first foot of the competitive ladder, and that's in game stores. So this is essentially what's going to be the real successor to Summoner Skirmish. And the big thing was that they're actually removing the buys that you win from the skirmishes. They're gonna work out a different pricing for it, but they're actually removing the buys that you get because it just hasn't really worked in the way they wanted to, because a lot of them end up unused is essentially their reasoning for it. And I also think, and from other feedback I've heard, is that everybody getting around one buy is a little rough for the tournament sometimes. But I'm excited for this because I know we're looking to just kind of get more into the competitive stuff as best we can. I love the idea of Nexus Cup. It lets me play like some random deck that I want to mess around with, and then if I want to get competitive, I can play in these. And then hopefully, as we go to more events, kind of just really push that stuff. I'm glad that there's a big like split because I think the skirmishes are notably smaller compared to like our Nexus nights.
Yeah,
at least,
I think so too.
Like at least in the areas that we've gone to when we did our skirmish for the last set, it was like 6. It was about like almost 9 people, 10 people, and like, but like our Nexus nights are generally larger. So it seems like a lot of the people that go to the Nexus either weren't available, or I feel like they were just a lot more casual and didn't feel like playing like a tournament with stakes.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah, and
there were literally only a couple people there.
Yeah, it reduced in size by a lot. And I was kind of surprised. I thought it was going to be a lot more because honestly, the people that we play with in our Nexus nights, they're all like pretty good. Like every player I've played against, for the most part, has had some sauce, and it's never felt. And I think it's because a lot of the people that go to our local store, they play other card games, but it's never felt like I'm like stomping over like a casual like brand new player, which feels good because it always feels bad to kind of ruin somebody's dreams when you're an Ezreal and Aurora player. But any other thoughts on this one before we get to our next tournament stuff?
No, I think you hit it on the head. I'm hoping to see bigger turnouts for the for the Nexus Cups and the Challenger Series.
Yeah, and I hope that the Nexus Cups and the Challenger Series have prizing that is like very beneficial to so where you want to do both.
Yeah.
Because if they make Nexus Cups just kind of not worth it, then like I feel like that's going to be something that's going to go down the drain really fast. But hopefully that isn't the case. But let's go next. Go ahead.
One of my biggest compliments about Riftbound that I think has been echoed across all the players I talk to is that they love the prize support that Riot provides. It feels worth it to attend these events.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I know our group has talked about it. How it's almost always like if you were to think about it in terms of monetary value, you're almost always plussing if you really cared about that. But in general, you always get something worth it. You're always getting at least a pack from most stores, and it's just it's just a good time. It's always worth going to Nexus nights, especially if you're thinking about playing the game. No matter the skill level, please. Nexus nights are there for you to go play, learn the game. Doesn't matter how new you are. One of our homies for a little while until more recently was playing decks straight out of the Proving Grounds box, and I would like from what we know, he's had a great time. He's still joining us. He's building his decks as time goes and as he gets more cards and like it doesn't. Nexus nights, no matter where you're at, should feel welcoming. They should feel welcoming. They should be welcoming. That's kind of the point of them, right? But let's get to our next one, and that's the change of the regional qualifiers. So the regional qualifiers are actually becoming just Riftbound regionals, and these are going to be global events for regional communities to come together with side events, vendors. It's the gist of what it is it's not really going to change. But the biggest thing about this is that this is going to be the essentially the second step, and they're going to try to do 3 to 4%, and they're going to try to have more cadence, like just more consistent global cadence for players, and they're trying to get like the spread of these events more evenly, which hopefully means more East Coast events. More East Coast events. Hopefully we get to make it to some of these and shoot our shot. Especially, I'm hoping by set 9 I can start traveling, because I'm trying to I'm trying to get a best of Thresh if it comes out. But And
Oh, yeah.
then, you know, we want to compete for our favorite best ofs, and hopefully, you know, these tournaments being in the East Coast would be a lot better for that. Any thoughts?
It was great. You saying that makes me go, wait, I actually hope Echo is not meta. So I can actually just get a best of. You know what I mean? Like,
So you can
because like
try,
if
you get like you want a best of side quest?
dude, I want a best of. Yeah, I want an easy best of. Because like if I have to fight like Alan ZQ and shit for like a best of Echo, I'm not getting that shit.
Hey, you know, it'd be like that.
Yeah,
Hey,
it'd be like that.
we'll set up for a prize wall.
Yeah, we'll set. You know what? Yeah, we'll just
Set up
grind
for a
side
prize
events.
wall.
Yeah.
But you know, either way, it's a pipe dream. But we'd like to get best ofs of our favorite champs.
Totally.
And hopefully by the time, at least for me, hopefully by the time Thresh comes out, I am super invested in grinding competitively to the point where I can hopefully have a shot.
Yeah, yeah.
But who knows? Let's get to their next one though. Riftbound Continentals. These are going to be 4 marquee destinations around the world each year, and they're essentially going to be the successor to the regional championship. So these are going to be like the big ones for the most part. These are going to be the big ones before the biggest one, and that's the next one here, the World Championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Continentals are going to be throughout the year. They're the same thing, 3-day events. Day one is going to be an open qualifier. And then there, of course, will be like side events and like all the other stuff. But the World Championship, and this is what I'm excited for actually, to actually start happening, because I've always been a fan of just like League of Legends and like their regional leagues, and then all culminating into like the best of the best at the World Champ. And then the World Championship is what I'm super excited for, because this is not going to be like there's going to be a lot less like best of stuff, because these are going to be like for the peak. That's going to be like you've made it there, you've competed, you've qualified, like now you are trying to win the whole thing. Like hopefully they make it so that winning the championship actually means something. And so that people are playing the absolute best. Hopefully that doesn't mean that everybody's playing the same deck, but you know, I hope that the World Championship just ends up being like something super sick. It could be like a huge event, hopefully in the East Coast, and and just a big, you know, that just huge event for the year, which I've grown to love with League. So
Yeah, would Worlds be like what, like 4 people? Cause like no, it's probably gonna be a couple people from Continentals. Cause like if they do one Continental per set, that's like one Continental champion. That's like, and if they release like 4 sets a year,
what they're probably gonna do is there's probably gonna be some sort of point system. Where it's like
okay.
probably it's gonna be like maybe they do like a top 32 of the best ranked players through points, so that way they get like, let's say they split it. Let's say they split into 4. Yeah, let's say they split into 4, right? So they do, and then each one is a different region. They do the best 8 from NA, best 8 from EU, best 8 from like China, and then best 8 from OCE and everywhere on that end, right? Like maybe that's what they do. And like that's just kind of it all depends on like how much points you have. Obviously maybe winning the Continental automatically gets you there, stuff like that. It'll probably be like a qualifying in a similar way, and they're probably not going to do like 4 players. It's probably just going to be like a good number. I would be surprised if they go past 32. I think 32 is where they're going to cap it. Maybe like just a flat top 16, and then they go straight that way. But I'd be interested to see how it happens. But I'm excited nonetheless, because that's gonna be big. I hope though that like the winners of like this year, like the peak of this year, can get something going towards that World Championship, because there isn't really a World Championship this year. You know, I hope somebody gets rewarded for like being like the best of this year, essentially.
Maybe they'll announce an event at Vegas, like for like the top competitors for the year or something.
Maybe. I mean, maybe we're bound to get more info.
Yeah.
But the last thing I want to talk about, because this affects us specifically, is the new player platform. So when it comes, I'm sure many of you guys who play in NA have gotten used to using the cardi.io website.
I hate Cardi.
It doesn't always work the best. Yeah, they're swapping to an official playriftbound.com platform that we'll be using. And they're hoping to get it started by, I believe they said by the time Radiance comes out.
Excellent. Yeah,
So,
I'm excited for this.
yeah, I think like the Cardi.io stuff needed a lot of help, because sometimes you'd load up the page and like the timer wasn't even there.
Yeah.
And it just made it, there's a lot of difficulties with the website.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're swapping to it. Third party organizers though will still be on Cardi.io for the rest of the year. So that will still, it'll still be something that we're probably going to be using hand in hand if we go to anything that's not like official, like straight from Riot, which will probably be for if we make it to Baltimore, because that's third party. But yeah, that's kind of it for the competitive side of things. And then any thoughts on any of these events? Like, how are you feeling about everything coming next year? I think next year is going to be big for us.
I think next year is our year, man. Riftslop 2027.
Yeah, we're hoping to do a lot coming in the year. We're hoping, I think just to get our footing, and then our foot into the door, hopefully. If you're still here, any support is welcome. Check out our socials and everything. We appreciate it. What are you guys excited for in for 2027 or the end of this year? We got a lot to look forward to. We have a lot of stuff coming, a lot of plans. We have our gameplay video out, hoping to get a lot of stuff, everything improved as time goes on. Right now we're balling on a budget, so we're doing our best. We're doing our best out here, and hopefully we can continue to improve, and hopefully you guys get to see more of the rest of the Riftslop crew in more videos as well. And we have a lot planned. We have a lot of plans. We just got to get things into action and kind of moving forward, and hopefully we can keep going into 2027. And that is a bit of a segue into our next part here that I wanted to quickly talk about, is for the creator stuff that they mentioned that they're doing. They're trying to make a more reliable process for creators to get involved with initiatives. So they're not looking to do a partner program just yet, but the big takeaway from all of this is that they are looking to put applications for each set. So what that means is every time a new set comes out, we're going to be applying, and we're going to hope to get access to some stuff to bring you guys content with. Hopefully we get our hands on some previews if we're ever so lucky, and hopefully our next year is going to be good for Riftslop and everything on that. But yeah, any last words, any last thoughts, Sam?
Love you guys. Use deodorant, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Or be freaking stinky. Just don't go to the store. You can stay at home.
No, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll check you guys in the next one. Peace.